The deadly 1980 eruption of Mount Saint Helens that caused widespread devastation and $4 billion in damage is well known. Yet, it is not the only volcano capable in the future of producing an eruption in the contiguous United States. In fact, in the lower 48 U.S. states, there are 45 active or potentially active volcanoes, of which 14 have erupted at some point in the last 1,000 years, including in unexpected states such as Arizona or Utah. Because there are so many volcanoes, it can be difficult for the average person to track them all. Thus, I have decided to create this brief list where, in my opinion and analysis as a geologist and volcanologist, I will discuss the 5 volcanoes that, in my opinion, are most likely to be the site of the next lower 48 volcanic eruption. A number of factors will be used to create my list involving hard scientific data, the interpretation of a volcano's eruptive phase, and personal opinion. Let's get started. The 5th most likely volcano to erupt within the country is one widely seen in Oregon, Mount Hood. Now, I want to note that it was fairly tough to pick a volcano for 5th place, as the 4 volcanoes above it are each far more likely to erupt next than Mount Hood is, and you'll see why. While Mount Hood hasn't shown any signs of unrest during the 21st century, it earned the spot due to a simple fact. It erupted 4 times between 1781 and 1866. Thus, some of the same magma that powered these eruptions could theoretically power another eruption sometime in the next few hundred years. The 4th most likely volcano to erupt is Mount Baker, which can be found in far northern Washington state near the border of Canada. The justification for me placing Baker on this list is twofold: its high rate of recent eruptions, especially during the 1800s, and the fact that it experienced an episode of unrest in 1975. That episode of unrest likely involves some form of a magma intrusion leading to increased degassing that, while decreasing year over year, has remained at Mount Baker's summit ever since. As for its number of eruptions, it ranks 2nd among lower 48 volcanoes in the last 1,000 years and 7th during the Holocene epoch. Due to its relatively high amount of volcanic activity in the last few hundred years, albeit with none since the 1975 unrest, this is why I place Mount Baker in this list. The 3rd most likely volcano to erupt next within the country can be found approximately 26 miles west of the city of Bend, where there are 3 closely spaced stratovolcanoes that are all part of the Three Sisters volcano. Here, a presumably basaltic magma intrusion has been actively ongoing since 2020, where around 100 million cubic meters of magma has accumulated underground at a depth of 6 kilometers or 3.7 miles. This body of magma has been fed by 2 recent intrusions, the aforementioned ongoing one since 2020 and one between 1990 and 2001. During this time, magma has not risen to any shallower depths, but it is not a guarantee that this will always be the case. As a result of possible semi-frequent recent magma intrusions before sensors were placed to monitor ground deformation, this complex may in the next few centuries produce a flank basaltic cinder cone-forming eruption of a most likely moderately explosive nature. The 2nd most likely volcano to erupt within the country is located north of the town of Mammoth in central eastern California. Stretching from Mammoth Mountain to Mono Lake is a 30-mile-long chain of volcanoes consisting of dozens of recent vents. Although this series of vents is considered to be 3 separate volcanoes, others claim it could be classified as a single volcano. Regardless of which is the case, this volcanic chain has erupted the 2nd most in the Holocene of any lower 48 volcanic complex. This chain tends to erupt rhyolite, produce obsidian flows, and is generally highly explosive. Mammoth Mountain was the site of a deep magma intrusion in 1989, which has produced carbon dioxide emissions on the surface with patches of tree kill ever since. The Mono Lake segment produced an episode of unrest in 1890 involving strong surface degassing with a submarine vent that could have even represented a weak phreatic eruption. And while the Mono-Inyo segment hasn't recently shown any signs of life, it has erupted more than a dozen times in the Holocene and is more active than any other California volcano. However, the most likely volcano to produce an eruption should not come as a surprise, as it's Mount Saint Helens. Of the 250 recorded volcanic eruptions within the lower 48 states in the Holocene epoch, 41 of these originated from Mount Saint Helens. And in the last 1,000 years, 36% of all of the eruptions the lower 48 volcanoes produced originated from Mount Saint Helens. Mount Saint Helens, despite its major eruption and north flank collapse in 1980, has been in a highly active phase since 3,900 years ago, which likely continues to the present. It last erupted in 2008, and in recent years, there have once again been signs of magma building underneath its edifice, albeit at moderate rather than shallow depths. As a final note, I would like to thank my new patron Manao, Dominique, and Wojciech for supporting my work.